All right, Chris. Well, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you, Marlon?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited about what's in store for us with this new podcast and what we're going to talk about and everything. So let's get
Yes, I'm
started.
pretty excited. Yes, let's go.
This is the Hidden Critique, where we discuss art, race, and higher education at the intersection of an MFA. I'm Marlon Tobias, pronoun he, him.
And I'm Krystle Lemonias, pronouns she, her.
Welcome to our show.
Let's take a moment to talk about the podcast title name.
Yes,
Marlon?
yes, definitely. So the show, The Hidden Critique, is referencing the concept of the hidden curriculum, which was first introduced in 1968 by a researcher. His name is Philip Jackson in his book called Life in Classrooms. The hidden curriculum is what educators teach students without even realizing it. So if you think about it through their interactions, modeling, and school or classroom culture overall, all of these things consist of unspoken values, beliefs, norms in the culture of the classroom. So in our show, we want to take that concept and discuss how that shows up for visual artists in pursuit for the MFA. Well, Chris, let's introduce ourselves to the listeners and share a little bit about our work because we are practicing artists and what drove our decision to go to grad school.
Right, great question to start off at. So, my work is grounded in the principles of painting and sculpture. I am really interested in representing Black immigrant women like myself as the central subject and focusing on the stories, really telling these stories of women that do care, work, labor, that hold up this society that we live in. So much of the contributions that are made in the domestic workforce really helps to support the rest of our society. And so I do that by using materials that are often discarded, baby clothes, my clothes, what other women's clothes, a mixture of found objects and items to create whether paintings, sculptures, and also incorporating printmaking practices to discuss the social complexity between class, gender, citizenship, commodification, economic inequities, and labor rights. So, reappropriating these materials to destabilize the power that play into the contradiction of these experiences. And this focus is what got me into grad school. I started thinking about this in undergrad and really took the time to focus in on this exploration of thought and material while I was in higher ed. All right, Marlon, let's hear a bit about your work and your decision to go to grad school. Let's share with the listeners.
Yeah, of course. So I am a painter and drawer primarily, but I have explored some other mediums like printmaking, sculptural installation. So I like to kind of dabble in a few other mediums, but mainly I'm a painter and drawer. A lot of the themes around my work discuss erasure, the Black rural Southern tradition, the intersections of spirituality, religion and place, domesticity, and just overall the complexities within a family and community. A lot of my work is pretty much archival, so I source a lot of, or lately I've been sourcing a lot of like old family photos and documents, pretty much to tell the story of who this community was and how they've contributed to the society that they've been a part of, but also just the overall narrative of the Black experience. So that's been what I do as far as my art practice, and why I chose to pursue grad school was because that was my way of saying that I am an artist. So I did get my BFA, my bachelor's degree in graphic design. Hated it, but I also minored in fine art and found that I was always gravitating more towards the fine art side, getting my hands dirty, being in front of an easel, being in front of a canvas. And I just felt that my expression with fine art was a lot more aligned with who I was. So I come from an academic background. A lot of my mother, as well as a lot of the family members on my mother's side went into education as their field of choice. So it was just natural for me to think if I want to start my career or if I want to pursue something, the first vehicle to go through would be education. So in 2018, after maybe about 7 years from graduating from my undergrad, I applied to grad school and got in and went for my MFA.
Wonderful. Well, I really do think that, some of the themes that you're talking about and the themes that I'm talking about have, great parallel roots. And it's essentially what drove us closer together. It was our pride in the complexities of our racial identity and or shared interest to display that through our work, but feeling like we didn't have full support in our program also in a way so
In
was
a
what
way.
brought us together. Well, not in a way, but actually it is the case. It brought us together because we had to really look for support from each other to refine and expand the themes and concepts that we were focused on and look elsewhere in the institution to find the research necessary that would support our visual practice.
Definitely. I told you this before, and I'll continue to say this. I don't know what my graduate experience would have been like without you, Chris. You were definitely one of those key people in my journey that kept me from falling off the ledge and or jumping off the ledge and understanding me and trying to search for language of as far as what we were doing and just having that soundboard.
Absolutely.
We definitely treat each other as a soundboard for each other. And I think, with that, definitely what defined a lot of my success
Hmm.
in our grad program, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Sometimes
that's
you
what
just really need someone to be able to share something to that is going to try to understand why are you making this thing or why are you choosing this thing and help you figure it out without wanting to deny its importance. And I think that is what you were to me in the program for sure.
Yes, just figuring it out, just trying to make sense out of it, right? And talking about the podcast, what we want to do is we want to share our successes for current and future students who are pursuing their fine art higher education beats, right? So in this podcast, we're going to discuss certain topics regarding the demographical statistics in the industry of fine arts, application tips and tricks, navigating your first semester, applying for grants, art residencies, and fellowships, even while in grad school, and also just navigating life after grad school because it is not a clear-cut path for
Oh yeah.
someone for creative, right?
Absolutely. We really have to be problem solvers, quick thinkers, and innovative learners as we try to make a way to have a sustainable career in and out of school. And this is what we want to share with viewers because I don't think there's anything out there right now that supports students in higher education, specifically in the arts, to really build that capacity. So we're looking forward to be a space and build a community for others to do so.
Yes, and definitely just piggybacking off of build a community. We also want to use this podcast to hear from you, our listeners, and to discuss and engage with you about your experience. And hopefully that will aid to just overall the community so we can all make sure that we're successful out here, right?
Absolutely. And that's why we've created our Discord. We'll be sharing more about that in our first episode.
All right. So look out for our first episode and stay tuned to hear all of the wonderful things about what it means to be an artist and an MFA student.